Admiral Zethkar of the Hegemony High Command studied the tactical display with mounting disbelief. The holographic projection showed the same impossible result for the third time in as many cycles. Another human victory against overwhelming odds. "Explain this to me again," he said to his intelligence officer, his four eyes never leaving the crimson markers representing destroyed hegemony vessels. Commander Velthos shifted nervously, her scales rippling with anxiety. "The humans call it the Battle of Kepler Station. 47 of their vessels against our fleet of 300. By all mathematical models, they should have been annihilated within the first hour. Yet here we are, having lost 2/3 of our assault force." Zethkar's mandibles clicked in frustration.
"What did our battlefield analysts miss?"
"That's just it, sir. They didn't miss anything. The humans fought differently. When the galactic hegemony had first encountered humanity, they'd been puzzled by the species classification. Most civilizations fell into clear categories. The Zephyrians were natural diplomats, the Krell were born engineers, the Vorthak were instinctive traders. But humans seemed to be generalists, decent at everything but exceptional at nothing. The hegemony's xenobiologist had been particularly intrigued by human evolution. Unlike every other known sapient species, humans hadn't evolved from apex predators or highly specialized creatures. They were persistence hunters from a death world, a planet so hostile that it had forged them in crucibles of constant adaptation. "Show me the tactical breakdown," Zethkar commanded. The display shifted, showing the battle's progression. At first, it appeared conventional enough. The human fleet had arranged itself in a defensive formation around Kepler Station, preparing for the inevitable siege. The hegemony forces had approached in their standard battle configuration, heavy cruisers forming the vanguard, support vessels maintaining the rear, fighters providing harassment. Then everything had gone wrong. "Notice here," Velthos highlighted a section of the battle. "The humans abandoned their defensive positions after only 20 minutes. Standard doctrine suggests they should have held those positions until the bitter end. But the humans hadn't followed standard doctrine. Instead, they'd done something that defied military logic. They'd split their forces into dozens of smaller groups and scattered across the system. To any civilized military commander, this should have been suicide. Divided forces were weak forces. The hegemony had immediately moved to exploit this apparent blunder, dispatching hunter-killer groups to eliminate the scattered human ships. That's when the real horror had begun. The humans weren't retreating, Velthos continued, her voice barely above a whisper. They were positioning themselves for ambush tactics. Each small group became a pack of hunters, using the asteroid field, gas clouds, and debris as cover. The hologram showed the systematic destruction of hegemony forces. Human ships would emerge from hiding, strike with devastating precision, then vanish before return fire could be coordinated. They targeted command vessels first, communications arrays second, leaving hegemony forces blind and leaderless. But it wasn't just the tactics that had proven so effective, it was the humans themselves. "Our intercepted communications reveal something disturbing," Velthos added. The human crews weren't following a centralized battle plan. Each ship was making independent tactical decisions, adapting to changing circumstances in real time. This was incomprehensible to the hegemony mindset. Their military doctrine relied on rigid hierarchies and predetermined strategies. Orders flowed down from command and subordinates executed them without deviation. It was efficient, predictable, and until now had been supremely effective. The humans operated differently. Every ship captain was also a tactical genius, every crew member capable of independent thought under pressure. When their admiral's flagship was destroyed early in the battle, the human fleet hadn't collapsed. It had evolved, like a living organism adapting to injury. "There's more," Velthos said, pulling up personnel files. "We've analyzed the backgrounds of captured human military personnel. Sir, none of them were bred for warfare." Zethkar's eyes narrowed. "Impossible. Warriors of this caliber must have generations of genetic optimization. The evidence suggests otherwise. The human commander who orchestrated the Kepler victory was a civilian cargo pilot 6 months ago. Their most effective fighter ace was a university student studying xenobiology. Their chief engineer was a mining equipment technician. The implications were staggering. The hegemony's military elite underwent decades of specialized training and genetic enhancement. Their warriors were crafted from birth for specific roles, optimized for obedience and tactical execution. But humans weren't created for war. They were made for it by their circumstances. Every human carried within them the genetic memory of surviving on a planet that had tried to kill them for millions of years. They were natural problem solvers, natural adapters, natural survivors. "Pull up the psychological profiles," Zethkar ordered. The data painted a picture that chilled him to his core. Humans didn't just fight, they enjoyed it. Not in the sadistic way of the Vorthak raiders, but with a terrifying creativity that turned every engagement into an opportunity for innovation. They'd weaponized everything. Cargo containers became kinetic missiles, mining equipment became improvised armor, their own damaged ships became guided projectiles. They fought with a resourcefulness that bordered on the supernatural. "Sir," Velthos said quietly, "there's something else. Intelligence reports indicate that humans consider this their first real war. They've spent their entire recorded history fighting each other in conflicts that trained them for exactly this type of combat." Zethkar stared at the tactical display, finally understanding the true horror of what they faced. The hegemony had evolved specialized warrior castes for conquest, but humans had evolved as warriors themselves, every single one of them. They weren't just fighting to defend their territory. They were doing what they'd been shaped by evolution to do: adapt, overcome, and survive against impossible odds. As reports of 3 more human victories reached his command center, Admiral Zethkar made a decision that would save countless hegemony lives. He opened a channel to the human fleet. "This is Admiral Zethkar of the Hegemony High Command. We wish to discuss terms." The humans, it seemed, were equally terrifying at negotiating peace as they were at waging war.